To start off this incredible event, I welcome up a very special person. Please put your hands together for Fresh Start's Executive Director, Monica Zinke.
Well, hello. As I said, my name is Monica Zinke. I'm the Executive Director, and I won't take long because we have speakers that are going to share about Fresh Start better than I ever could. But I wanted to come up and thank you all for being here tonight. This is a really fun, creative event, and it's a really unique and fun way to support what we do at Fresh Start, which is a very serious cause about helping women experiencing homelessness move out of that and get back on their feet. So we have a lot of people here that might be new to Fresh Start, so I'm going to give you just a couple sentences. Fresh Start is a residential program for women experiencing homelessness. They can be there for any reason. So it might be substance abuse, it might be mental health or physical health, it might be domestic violence, it might be other kinds of trauma, it might be a recent job loss. More commonly, it's some combination of all of those. Any one of those is enough to need a hand up, not a hand out, a hand up, have somebody there to help them. But when there's multiple ones, it can take a while to get back on your feet. And so at Fresh Start, they come and the amazing staff, many of whom are here tonight, spending their Friday nights with us, the amazing staff work to provide that safe place for them to be, both physically safe and a sense of emotional safety, where they can come and they can take a breath and they can start to build a foundation for success. They can build a foundation for when they move out, that they can be self-sufficient again, they can be economically stable again. And most importantly, a lot of what we do is really work to instill hope again. As you might imagine, a lot of them have only heard negative things throughout a lot of their life. And what we do is really work with them to see their strengths and to see all the wonderful things that they are and all the great choices that they can make, and for them to find that hope in our community and find that hope in themselves that they are worth a better life and that they can do it, that they can have a better life. So that's what you're supporting tonight. And then, just because Carla's here, and this really speaks to me, one of our longtime supporters gave me this earlier today. I'm looking over there, she's over there. That she gave me these stickers to take back to Fresh Start as a reminder to the residents. So I'm going to read them before I bring our first speaker up, and I want you all to repeat them in your head. So these say, you are beautiful, you are brave, and you are brilliant. So thank you, Carla. We're going to use these as reminders of Fresh Start for our residents and our staff sometimes. It's a tough job. That everybody here as well, we are all beautiful, we are all brave, we are all brilliant, we are all worthy. And so with that, we're going to move to our two alumna speakers that I'm really excited to introduce, and they thankfully and very bravely and very much showing some vulnerability and sharing their experience that led them to Fresh Start and what happened to them at Fresh Start. So our first speaker is going to come up, Sam. Thank you, Sam.
I've never done this before, so bear with me. Hello, my name is Samantha, and I am an alumni whose life has become so amazing as a result of my time at Fresh Start. I have grown so much since coming to Nebraska and Fresh Start. At one time, I was an addict from Missouri who was at rock bottom in 2022. I came to visit Nebraska and ended up in jail. While in the jail, I received a letter from Fresh Start stating that I had been accepted into the program. In turn, I was put on community corrections and moved into Fresh Start. Once I arrived, I was met with welcoming arms. I worked with staff to create my own goal plan and included addressing employment, physical health, sobriety, and housing. Shortly after I started working out in Kawasaki and began saving money, I took important life skill classes that Fresh Start offered, including budgeting, health, and nutrition. Rent-wise, I eventually saved up enough money to purchase my first vehicle. During my time at Fresh Start, I broke my ankle and unfortunately was unable to continue my job at Kawasaki. Luckily, I found a new career at Bristol Windows a short time later. I have worked there for over 2 years now and moved my way up to management position. After a year at Fresh Start, Start, I made several amazing friendships that I have continued to today. Some of these friends are here with me today, and I am so grateful to have them in my life. Without Fresh Start, I wouldn't know what life is like outside the streets. Now I'm able to use the lessons that I learned at Fresh Start to build a bigger and brighter life for myself. I appreciate everyone for coming tonight to support Fresh Start and the women who go through the program. I would also like to thank the Fresh Start staff for being who you are and continuing to be a support in my everyday life. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I hope everyone has an amazing time.
Thank you, Sam. Like I said, a lot of bravery and vulnerability to share in front of you. This is our largest crowd we've ever had at Project Funway. So there's about 350 of you here. Normally it's 275. So this is amazing that they are being courageous and sharing their experience with you. So thank you, Sam. Our next speaker is Christina. She's going to come up and also share her experience with Fresh Start and just what led her there. So, here we go.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, for supporting Fresh staff and graduates like myself. What is a home? It has a different meaning for all of us. I looked up the definition, and it is defined as the place where one lives permanently, especially as a member of a family or a household. Knowing this, I look back and verbalize that I never lived in a home. Instead, I grew up in houses. I lived in environments fraught with turmoil, discord, resentments, addictions, and abuse of every kind. The instability of my life intensified as I aged, and I was a burgeoning alcoholic by the age of 14. I was a loner and I was all I had. I could shut myself off in my head through reading and voracious consumption of any knowledge I could learn. Eventually, I would adopt two other coping skills by watching my father, the ones where he would drink himself into oblivion every night and then without a sign disappear. I moved in with my mother and watched her use cocaine as freely as if it were water, then she too was gone. The only ways I learned how to deal with shame, hopelessness, pain, uncertainty, and fear were through the use of alcohol and running away. I had no idea how to communicate my thoughts and feelings as I grew up. We did not express anything uncomfortable to hear or accept. Sharing emotions, feelings, crying, and expressing love and adoration were foreign concepts in my house. I internalized all things I felt and would become someone who detached easily from people, situations, and feelings. I was lonely, fearful, hopeless, starved for some stimulation and learning, and so began my endless search for something, anything, to make me a whole person. Try as I did by the age of 46, I still hadn't found the answer. In my exhaustive search for connection, stability, and structure, I would lead myself into a series of relationships that would change the trajectory of my life. By choice, I would seek out men as troubled as me, and I was on an endless journey heading nowhere, and then joyfully became a parent at 33 and at 40 in a hopeful, albeit misguided attempt at normalcy, domesticity, and to create a home. At the time, unbeknownst to the frightened, pained, and hopeless little girl inside of me, it was impossible to cope with all the internalized trauma by having expectations I could be saved or changed by someone else. Plus, I had no examples of parenting and how not to put my own wants first. Eventually, my life would escalate into a world where my consumption of alcohol would be foremost over my children. I had a few successes in life, but putting down a bottle was not one of them. My drinking would eventually lead to felony DUIs. I would lose my license for 15 years and lost my ability to support my children. because I would lose a career and was too proud to ask for assistance. I would leave the children with their father and find myself in a relationship that would expose me to the seedy, unpredictable life of meth addiction. I had staved off narcotic use until I was 41. I would become someone who would be federally indicted for committing crimes against society and the government. I would go to jail, be released to treatment, and eventually be placed at Fresh Start while I awaited sentencing to go to prison. When I arrived at Fresh Start, I had a mindset that this was just a place to stay until I headed to prison. My expectations were nil, and so was my hope. Then I met Meg, the Associate Director at Fresh Start. Here is a vibrant, confident, charismatic, intellectual, compassionate, loving leader who went through so much of the same trauma I had experienced and come out better for it. I looked up to this woman who uses a recovery program to continue to grow in her personal and professional life and is teaching women how they are capable of doing the same. I was in awe. I wanted to be friends with someone like her. I wanted to know the type of joy and successes she had. Through a series of amazing roommates and other women I met along the way at the home, I developed friendships with so many women that I now call my friends and still maintain contact with. For the first time in my life, I knew what it was like to be a part of a family. Through groups and activities at Fresh Start, I developed coping skills and conceded that trauma does not mean that you have to stay in pain, fearlessness, and hopelessness. Through the guidance, support, love, and care of Monica and Lucretia, as well as the amazing case managers and direct care staff on all shifts, I accepted that there were women who lift you up and will not take advantage of you when you are in a weakened state in your life. At this time, I am a stable, confident, responsible, compassionate, loving, successful woman who has a close and loving relationship with my children. I love to visit Fresh Start to play board and card games with staff and other women in the house. The door is always open, the coffee is brewing, and there's a sympathetic ear and words of praise or advice. It has been a beautiful journey, and I now express my love for Meg and call her my friend. Whenever anyone asks me where I'm headed, I tell them I am heading home to visit. When I tell them this, they know I'm headed to Fresh Start.